Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about some of the resources that we have been using to teach our kids to read. Now, some kids want to start reading earlier. Some kids start showing signs of reading readiness. Some kids need to start reading because they're going to school and they're learning at school. So we've had, due to thrift stores, I've had the chance to try out a lot of different resources to teach my kids to read. And I kind of want to do a comparison of different programs that are out there and how they worked with my kids. So my kids are very different. My son they're both very, very smart, but they're very different learners. My son, he struggles with reading. He sounds every word out and he has a really hard time with sight words. My daughter, everything's just easier for her. She picks things up really fast, and she picked up her letter sounds really quickly, and she just sounds everything out. So everything kind of comes naturally to her. So first, I want to talk about the 2 reading instructional guides that we tried and how they worked out for us. So the first thing that we tried was Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons. This book came extremely highly recommended, so it was the first one that I bought. And I was very excited to try this. So we open it up and tried this out with my son when he was about 4 years old. And at that time, he was starting to read. But this was confusing to us, to both of us, and overwhelming. We started with lesson 1. And we started with the sounds. I think they introduced a couple letters. Sorry, this book has a little bit of water damage. And it was slow. It was so slow, and I just could not place us in this book where it was working out. So unfortunately, we abandoned this book, and I decided to keep it for my daughter. I did try this with my daughter, and she also, we were just kind of overwhelmed by it. So this book I'm actually going to get rid of it because it just did not work for our family. This book, the reading lesson, this is the second thing I tried when a Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons didn't work for us. So this book is really friendly, and it just makes me feel so relaxed and organized. So each lesson, it starts out really easy, big friendly pictures, breaks out the lessons with little games to play, matching, really simple. My son loved this book. We did this book for about a year, and we did it all the way through chapter 17. And the words kind of get smaller and smaller as you keep going. And each chapter starts out by introducing kind of a concept. So chapter 17, qua, ing, who. Then you review those sounds, which we usually skip because it's a bit overkill. Then we introduce some new words that my son reads. Then this is kind of a puzzle. We kind of call this as a break. So it's kind of a fun little thing where he just needs to say, ing, and then add ing to everything. So he enjoys these. They're kind of a break for him. Then some new words. These are words to review. Then he starts with sentences. These are all random sentences. And then another puzzle here. So I think this one they try to, I'm not exactly sure, I didn't read the instructions for this. Then another set of sentences. And then eventually you get to stories, and the chapter usually ends by giving the child several stories to read. And my son loves these. He reads them first, and then I read them to him, and he really enjoys that. They're interesting, they're funny, and it gives you breaks by having sentences to read, and then it'll throw in a puzzle or put lists of words together that are similar, which he really enjoys reading and going through. So I love this book. This worked so perfectly for my son. My daughter kind of still gets distracted. She's only 3.5. So we've done the first 3 or 4 chapters. I think we got through the first 3 chapters. It's really easy for her, and she just kind of runs off. So I'm not sure if she's ready for this book yet. I would love to do this book with her, but I don't know if she's going to need it because she picks everything up so quick. So those are our reading programs. I highly recommend the reading lesson. It's just so simple and so... it's such a pleasure to go through this book. It doesn't overwhelm you at all. We also tried a couple of these phonics books. So There's the Star Wars Phonics set. This is Scholastic. The Little Hello Kitty Scholastic, and we also tried Sophia the First, Disney's Reading Adventure. So these are kind of odd. I was kind of hoping to get a set of books that built on themselves and were really for a pre-level. And I didn't really find that with these books. This is a pre-reading level, and I don't think these are appropriate for someone who is just starting to read. I think this is a little complex. So as fun as these books are, my daughter loves to look through these, but as a reading program, it didn't really work for us. For the Scholastic reading programs, again, these books were not for beginner readers. The words were too complicated, and I understand that each book has a specific sound. It just didn't work for us. These books did not help launch us into reading. So as fun as they are to look through, they didn't work for us. Now, Bob books, I tried this with both my kids. They were a little bored, but they both did really well with these books. My son went through these pretty easily. He actually memorized a few of them, was very proud of himself to read these, and I think he used these in kindergarten as well. But these are extremely easy to read, and this is such a good starting off point for a child who's interested in reading. So both my son and daughter did extremely well with the Bob books, and these really are for beginner readers. And I do highly recommend these books. They kind of build on themselves as well. Each set is a different color. So this is great. I love this. Makes a lot more sense than the Scholastic Phonics readers. I know it's different. It's phonics versus, well, I think they're both supposed to be sort of phonics. So it's kind of hard to say. I think the Bob books work a lot better. We also did Hooked on Phonics. I got this at a thrift store, and I thought this was really great. This set comes with a workbook. Sorry about the lighting. Comes with a bunch of flashcards. There's sight words. There's lowercase. There's letter sounds. There's uppercase, and a bunch of books. Really great books. And the guide, it's word families mostly. It starts out with word families, and I really, really enjoyed this. You do the sounds, you do the different capitals, lowercase, and then kind of jump into what word families. And I thought this was really great. And my son got through a few lessons of this, and you'll go through the lesson. They'll have like a set of comics for you to read that has, so it feels like you're actually reading. So I really love this. Keep going, and then once in a while they'll say, okay, go grab your Hop Book 1 cat. So, sorry, these are kind of out of order. So I go and I pick the book, and then the child, sorry, it's in here somewhere, I apologize. Here it is. So you grab the book, and then you read the book, and it's very similar to the comic strip. Has a few more, and I thought this was perfect for a beginner reader, a child who's just starting out. And then as you get in to the books get harder, and then they have another set of books called the companion books, and these are much more complicated. Well, not too much more complicated, but I thought this was a great set. My son did eventually refuse to do the book. He was bored by it. He didn't like the structure, but my daughter really liked this at first, but then she got bored as well. So I would just do the books. I would read the books. I thought the books were perfect. They're a lot like the Bob books, and they just have more color, and they're a little more interesting, and they're pretty funny as well. So that is Hooked on Phonics. So my kids both go to Montessori, and they do these activities called pink cards, blue cards. I forget the order, but they're different cards. So I actually created the pink cards. Well, they're not pink, but I created the same system at home where they have to match the picture to the word family. So I did this for my son, and it worked perfectly. He loved this. He did very, very well. This is how I started him on reading. My daughter did this a little bit as well, and she kind of lost interest. She kind of loses interest with everything. So still haven't found an approach to her, but that's what I just kind of recreated based on this book, Hooked on Phonics book. I recreated the pink card system that the school uses, And so I have these laminated cards, and I think you can just print them online. I think they're called word families, and they have all kinds of exercises. The teacher's resources site that offers free resources. So I made these cards for them, and it worked for a while, but then my son got past the word families and started sounding everything out, so we didn't need it anymore. But I'm still hoping my daughter will use it a little more. So then there are a lot of different books out there, different types of readers. And so I have almost all of them. I probably have all of them, but I want to review some of the most popular ones that are on the shelves. And what do these levels mean? They all have kind of level 1, level 2. They have My First, which I think is a pre. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one has level beginner, pre. So they all kind of have the same system where there's a pre-level, a first level. Even these ones have levels 1 to 2. So what does that mean? So DK readers are great. The stories are really, really good. Oh, looks like I grabbed a couple ready to reads as well. So DK readers have beautiful pictures, great stories. We actually have so many of these, and we read them as bedtime stories. They are really awesome. But what is a level? So this is a pre-level, and this is not pre-level word. These are not pre-level words. My pre-reader would not be able to read this. So this just does not make any sense to me. My son, I would say he's reading at about a first grade level, and I don't think he would be able to read a level 1 beginning to read reader here. I mean, he could probably get through it, but yeah, I don't know. These words are kind of big, and this is a level 1 beginning reader, and that's a pretty complex. They're asking the child to read some pretty complicated stories. And look at this. This is a level 2 beginning to read alone, like a chapter book. So I don't think that DK readers are very good for a beginning reader. What worked best for us is a step into reading program. So these are books that my son is reading right now. He can read these on his own. This works really well with help. I do have to help him out, and we have to get through we have to sound them out together sometimes. But this is a lot more. This makes a lot more sense, and it's more like the Hooked on Phonics and the Bob books. So the words are more simple, they're bigger, and this, I would say, is a good level 2 first grade reading level. So yeah, I think step into reading makes the most sense. We also really, really liked some of these Dr. Seuss Bright and early books for beginning readers. This is not sorry. This is not all Dr. Seuss. So Hop on Pop is a Dr. Seuss one. This is a really great book because it all kind of builds on itself and has some fun words. Stan and Jan Berenstain Bears. So these were really great. My son really enjoys reading these on his own. And then Go Dog Go, of course, is a famous one by Eastman. And then Snug House, Bug House. This is my son's favorite book. He figured out how to read this one, and he reads this one to himself all the time. It's just such a great, enjoyable book. So we really, really love these books. They were really well. We also tried We Both Read. So they're broken up into levels. I think they have, let's see if they have a level. Oh yeah, they have a level K, level 1, level 1, 2, and a level 2. So we have 2 level 2s and 2 level 1, 2s. And my son read this with me really easily. This was fun for us. It took us about an hour and a half to get through the entire book. So I read a portion, and he read a portion, and then this worked out really well, and he enjoys this. Even though it takes so much time, he really enjoyed this system. And so I would say that the winners so far are the Step Into Reading and the We Both Read. There's also World of Reading. These are everywhere right now. And again, this is not a level 1 book. This is more complicated, I think, than the Step into Reading Level 2. So again, great book to look at, beautiful, great stories, really fun, but not a reading resource, at least not for my kids. There's also the I Can Read books. Now these are extremely popular. We haven't really used them too much, but this is a level, my first reading. So this, I believe, is like a pre-reading level. And I would say this is pretty good, but again, this is not pre-reading. I mean, compared to Hooked on Phonics and Bob Book pre-reading or beginner reading, this is way too complicated for a child who is just starting to figure out simple sight words and sounding out. So I'm not too and then so this is a pre-level, this is a level 1. Again, probably more complicated than a Step into Reading Level 2. And this is a level 2. So again, a lot of words, they're fairly small and they're fairly complicated. So yeah, these books are all over the place. You know, if you're a level 2 in one set, you're definitely not a level 2 in another set. So I'm glad I got most of these from thrift stores. Actually, all of these are from thrift stores. I think that the only things I bought new were the 2 guidebooks. Everything else was used. So that's what we use. Our favorites, again, are these Step into Reading books. I think the levels are the most, they make the most sense compared to other beginner reading resources. We love the Bright and Early beginner books. These have been great. The We Both Read, really, really useful. Hooked on Phonics has been kind of weird for my kids, but I think it's perfect. And then Bob Books and the Reading Lesson. So that is what we could recommend based on how my kids learn and them having extremely different learning styles. So I think it's, you know, that's what we recommend. So I hope you enjoyed this and I hope it was helpful, and good luck on your reading journey. Reading is just, I think, one of the best gifts that you can give your child. Thank you for watching.